The genius of America is that we're the most religiously diverse nation in human history. And yet we are in a battleground model of diversity that's demonize, demean, and divide. But we are a nation of Muslims and Christians, Hindus and Jews and non-believers. We give rise to this notion that people from a range of backgrounds, praying in a range of ways, could build together a nation that could be cooperative, because America's religious diversity is a strength, and we need to unlock its potential to benefit everybody. So let's take a closer look at this.
This is Stand Together Presents, stories, ideas, and advice from changemakers tackling our biggest challenges.
This is Eboo Patel. He's the former interfaith advisor to President Obama, and he believes that it's time for us to re-examine religion's role in American society by understanding the opportunities our religious diversity brings.
One of the early models in American history was the melting pot. And the notion is basically that you would throw your identities into this giant crucible, leave your ancient hatreds at home, and it would melt those away. It's basically try to be homogenous. But people are proud of their identities and their heritages, and you want to give people a way of connecting with that. But right now, we are in a battleground model of religious diversity where we are cultivating people's sense of grievance with one another. But diversity is not just the differences you like. And we should stop the fiction that we are only going to be with people who we totally agree with. We're not a battleground. We're not a melting pot, we're a potluck. Let me explain. A potluck relies on people bringing a dish. And what makes a potluck magic? It's when somebody's amazing spicy Lebanese dip connects remarkably well with somebody else's crusty Eastern European bread recipe. And you're like, I never thought these two things would go together. Well, that's the sign of a good potluck, because you have created a space where there can be enriching conversations that wouldn't happen elsewhere. We need a different model of doing diversity, where faith is a source of inspiration and a bridge of cooperation.
Eboo believes that you can see this potluck already in action, if you know where to look.
Imagine for a moment if all of the institutions founded by religious communities in your city disappeared overnight. Something like 50%, hospitals, schools, social service agencies were built by religious communities. They are the heartbeat of our civil society. The Southern Baptists train about as many people in disaster relief every year as the Red Cross. Second largest provider of social services in America after the federal government, Catholic Charities. I think the genius of religion is in all these everyday institutions. People from different faiths build institutions out of the inspiration of their particular faith identity that serves people of all identities. That is a way of doing social change. Religions have fundamental differences, and yet they also have shared values. Hospitality, compassion, cooperation, the ultimate worth of every human being. That's the secret formula. Respect people of various identities, relate positively across difference, and cooperate with others on common projects to serve the common good. That's the secret sauce for a healthy, diverse democracy. We constantly need to strengthen the muscles of bridge building across diverse identities and divergent viewpoints.
That's why Eboo's organization trains thousands of future interfaith leaders every year in hopes of cutting through the division and bringing more collaborative contributions to the table.
So much of being American is leaning into the cooperation that we already have, making sure that everybody knows that there's a respect, relate, cooperate ethos at play, recognizing that we see our identities as assets. We see them as dishes that we want to bring to this wonderful potluck nation that will one day realize that it is, in fact, interfaith America.
Stand Together partners with changemakers tackling our biggest challenges. To see more stories, follow our channels. And to learn more about how you can partner with us, go to standtogether.org.